Today's video is brought to you by ablmerch.com. We've got hats, t-shirts, stickers, mugs, and more. And use promo code 1776 to get 20% off your next order. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the controversy surrounding Tim Tebow signing a one-year deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars in the NFL. Now, the controversy is not that he signed a deal from, being gone so long. The issue is that he has a deal, but Colin Kaepernick is still not in the NFL. Now, there's a lot I want to say here. There's a lot to quote-unquote unpack here, as the cool kids would say, but I'm going to back up a little bit here to explain to you the history of the whole situation and why it's a controversy, why some people are butthurt, upset, and they're talking about racism and white privilege because Tim Tebow's in the NFL and Colin Kaepernick is not. Now, let's go back. Let's go back to, I think, Tim Tebow's rookie or sophomore year. I think it was rookie year in the NFL. He played for the Denver Broncos at quarterback. Now, when he got to the NFL, even before that, when he was at Florida, we'll talk about that a little bit later. That's pretty important as well, his time at Florida. But when he was at Florida and even into his rookie year, they were saying Tim Tebow's not a good quarterback. He's more of a wide receiver, a tight end, or a running back even. He had that kind of body and those kind of skills. But as far as being a quarterback, they said he was not a good quarterback. And in many ways, he had a lot of mechanical just problems that he could not overcome. However, as a quarterback playing for the Broncos, he had a great year, in my opinion. I mean, was it a level of Peyton Manning, who was his successor, who won a ring? No, it was not, obviously. You're talking about one of the best quarterbacks of all time in Peyton Manning. He was no Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, or somebody like that, but he was a good quarterback. He was better than a lot of guys that are out there in the field. As a matter of fact, there was a good year with the Broncos. He led them to the playoffs, won a playoff game. And, his whole thing, he kept pulling off miracles. It's like, all right, how is he going to get himself out of this jam? How is he going to be able to have some success? How is he going to win this game? It was a great year. Was it the best year? No, it wasn't, obviously, because when the Broncos, led by John Elway, also a great quarterback, when they parted ways with Tim Tebow and brought on Peyton Manning from the Indianapolis Colts, they won a ring. So obviously it wasn't as good as what Peyton Manning did, but as Peyton Manning, who's going to be better than him? Not many guys in the NFL, but I digress. After the Broncos, I think he went to the Jets and maybe some other teams, and he just didn't really get any more traction. So after about, 2 or 3 years, he was done with the NFL. He couldn't really get on anywhere as a quarterback or anything else. So then they let him to go just do TV stuff. I think he did Dancing with the Stars, if I'm not mistaken. So he just went that route and was not in the NFL. Now, here we are, 10 years later or so, he's back in the NFL with Urban Meyer. Now, Urban Meyer was his head coach when he played for Florida in college. Urban Meyer is now the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is where Tim Tebow is actually from, is where he grew up in Jacksonville. So it makes sense. Okay, here's your former coach. You're from Jacksonville. You're playing for the Jaguars, a one-year deal. Not even that quarterback. You're playing tight end. So he's willing to compromise. He's willing to say, all right, I'm not going to be Peyton Manning. I'm not going to be Eli. I'm not going to be any quarterback in the league. I've been gone for a long time. If I'm given the chance to come back and play tight end, I'll do that. Now, let's talk about Colin Kaepernick, shall we? Because people are saying that it's racist, it's white supremacy, it's white privilege, all this and that and the third, why Tim Tebow has a chance in the NFL and Colin Kaepernick does not. Now, I think the main comparison between the two would be the fact that they both kneel on the field. And Colin Kaepernick got X'd out of the league for his kneeling, and Tim Tebow did not. But let's be clear. The kneeling, the action of kneeling on the field was not even a thing. That wasn't the problem. The issue was what they were kneeling for. The issue is what Colin Kaepernick did on and off the football field. Tim Tebow is a religious guy, and that's kind of why I was saying you got all these miracles going on maybe the religiosity worked. Maybe that praying on the football field worked because he did some things that were like, wow, that's divine intervention right there. But Tim Tebow, after a touchdown or whatever, he kneel in the field, do a quick prayer, put up to the sky, whatever it was, which is not even that uncommon. You know, as far as the kneeling and praying, that wasn't necessarily common. But a lot of guys, after a good play, they, might have on the cross necklace, kiss the cross necklace, look up to the sky, thanking the big man upstairs. That's not an issue. Nobody really is upset about that. The problem with Colin Kaepernick was this whole thing about, racism and the police and all this and that. He, during, I think it was a preseason game, had on socks that had cops depicted as pigs on them. He was a really, really controversial figure, and his play on the field did not measure up to the controversy. You see, it's, you can be controversial all you want to playing for the NFL. You can get locked up. You can go to jail like Michael Vick did for 2 years. He went to prison for 2 years for dogfighting, came back and played, I think, more than he played before he went to the penitentiary. I think he did, 2 years in the joint. He played 7 years before that and like 9 years after. If I'm wrong about that, let me know. But he played for quite a long time after he got locked up and came back. And he was hated, Michael Vick, that is. He was hated because of the dog fighting. People love their dogs like children. He was hated for that, went to jail and everything, and was still able to come back. And he's blacker than Colin Kaepernick is, obviously, biracial, raised by white parents. Michael Vick comes straight from Newport News, my neck of the woods, in the hood, right, in Virginia. And he's my skin complexion. So this whole race thing is irrelevant. He was given a second chance because he was a good quarterback. His play outmatched the problems off the field. But Colin Kaepernick did not have that luxury. Same thing with Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow was a good quarterback, but he wasn't a great quarterback. That's why he did not last in the league. Not because of the religiosity and stuff like that. Well, maybe that might have been part of it, but a big part of it was his play did not measure up. If the religion got in the way, then his play would have been able to overtake that if he was a great quarterback. Same thing with Colin Kaepernick. If he was a great quarterback, then his play would have been able to overshadow all the stuff about the police and, white people, black people, racism, all this and that and the third, right? That's why he's not in the league, because the play did not overtake the controversy on and off the field. And people want to say, oh, well, they gave Tim Tebow a chance. Colin Kaepernick didn't get a chance. Colin Kaepernick has had many more chances than Tim Tebow. This is the first time I'm hearing about Tim Tebow getting a chance. He's not even playing quarterback. He's playing tight end. Colin Kaepernick was given chances to be a quarterback in the NFL, but at every turn, he would sabotage himself. There was a chance for him to go to the Baltimore Ravens. I think Ray Lewis may have still been there, or at least he was somehow influential, but that didn't go right. I'm not exactly sure what went wrong, but his girlfriend, Nessa, speaking about Colin Kaepernick, she put out a tweet talking about the Ravens owner is a slave owner, and Ray Lewis was like a slave. The whole typical Django and Stephen and Django type thing that they always resort to, insulting people that you're trying to get a job with. It's like, okay, what's going on with that? There were other chances that happened behind the scenes that didn't go anywhere because of the same type of situation. The most recent thing, he had a workout with the NFL, and there were going to be several teams there, and it was scheduled to be at one place, somewhere like in Atlanta, and Kaepernick moved it from that place to like a high school football field, and he did not want to have anyone come film it, but he had his own film crew there from Nike, because let's not forget, Colin Kaepernick still has a deal with Nike, and he has his own book company. Not just a book deal, but a whole publishing company. He'll be releasing the book pretty soon here. I'm not going to advertise that. This is not a Colin Kaepernick sponsored video, but it's about defunding the police. Not even his book, but it's a book that has his name on it, because he has a whole book company. He'll release several books from several authors on this imprint. So let me get this straight, Colin Kaepernick. You want a chance in the NFL. Why? Those that think that Colin Kaepernick is somehow being blackballed unjustly and it's racism. Oh, okay, well, tell me this right here. Just give me this. How much money do you think Tim Tebow is making by appearing on Fox News and stuff like that versus Colin Kaepernick with a Nike deal still, with a whole book company, and by being a big time social media influencer who is now rebranded himself, reinvented himself as an activist, as an SJW, social justice warrior? Who makes more money? Who has a better ability to bring in revenue? And who is more flexible in what they want to do? Colin Kaepernick didn't want to be anything else other than the starting quarterback in the NFL. He opted out of his deal playing for the 49ers because he got benched for Blaine Gabbert, right? He opted out of that deal and has not had that deal since because he didn't really want it. Tim Tebow, on the other hand, was a quarterback and will now be playing tight end because he's open, he's flexible. He's not going to be so stuck up in, full of himself like Colin Kaepernick is. But as I close, I want to say this. Colin Kaepernick has no need to actually play NFL football. You do understand that, right? Anybody out there listening to me, you understand that. He has no need to play NFL football. I mean, why should he? He's getting paid much more now doing what he's doing than he would on the football field. He has reinvented himself. But the one thing he needs to have to continue the new person that he is, and Colin Kaepernick, he needs to have that victimhood chip on the shoulder. I was blackballed from the league. They didn't want me. They're racist. They. Pointing the finger all the time at the outside world. Pointing the finger all the time at the white man. Meanwhile, you're raised by the white man. You're half white yourself. This whole thing is bogus and it's really ridiculous. People still buy into it, which is why Colin Kaepernick has had more off-the-field success than Tim Tebow. It's very simple. Tim Tebow appears to be more God-fearing, more honest, a straightforward type guy. And the other person, Colin Kaepernick, is not. I guess crime does pay. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think it's racist for Colin Kaepernick to not be in the NFL? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Is it racist for Tim Tebow to get another chance? Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I stand. I think this whole thing is ridiculous. Colin Kaepernick has no need nor desire to be in the NFL. He wants you to think that he wants to be there. He wants you to think that he should be there. He wants you to think that he's being blackballed unjustly. And he wants you to think probably that Tim Tebow is only there because he's white. Meanwhile, he's been out of the league for the past 10 or so years and is going to come back, not even as a quarterback, probably on a really low deal. Colin Kaepernick's money from probably 2 or 3 months will overtake what Tim Tebow has made in the past few years. In my opinion, maybe I'm wrong about that, but I know what these guys make. Okay, we've seen Black Lives Matter. I've said it before. They've raised Black Lives Matter and BLM affiliated, quote unquote, organizations or similar organizations, black activist type stuff. They raised $10.6 billion with a B, $10.6 billion in 6 months in 2020. That's more than all the conservative PACs and groups and everything, the RNC. That's more than all of those combined. So don't tell me that Colin Kaepernick is some poor victim who needs a chance in the NFL. No, he doesn't. What's the point? Why would you, if it was me and I was in his position, if I was just an unscrupulous person and I wanted to lie for a living, I wouldn't go back to no NFL for what? So I can get concussed for like $1 million in a year and have lifelong injuries? Why? You can make that off the field in a few months or a month, 1 month, a day, if you're Colin Kaepernick. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.